Tape Deck Media.
See you at the party, Richter!
Hello, and welcome to See You at the Party, Richter. My name is Chris Chapman, and I am joined, as always, by Aaron Frescas.
Hello.
And Joseph Peck Castro.
Hello, cutie pies.
And today we are going to be going through the promotional material for Arnold's 2003... I'm just out of these. It's a vehicle of some kind, but yeah, anyway.
It's a Toyota Tundra.
Right.
Special edition Toyota Tundra. Right. Yeah.
His crossover vehicle, T3 Rise of the Machines.
We're finishing stuff.
We're finishing? Yeah, we're going to finish this movie.
Yes.
I
think.
Hope. Anyway.
Oh, and before we get going, I believe Joe had something you wanted to share.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, what do you got for us, Joe?
All right. So, I promised you guys crane jokes. So, the setup here is Arnold's talking to Bill Lockyer, the Attorney General of California, trying to convince him to pass that after-school bill. So, the setup is he's like hanging on the crane, and Bill Locklier's there. He's like, "Hey, Bill, come on, ride the crane and ride it."
Were you just listening to come on? What is that? Who sings that?
Quad City DJs.
Okay, were you just listening to that song?
Honestly, I thought of these all in the shower. So that's where I do my best thinking. Because it's the only time I'm not distracted, like looking at my phone or watching something on TV.
I usually forget the stuff, though. But I'm like, fuck.
Sometimes we got like the glass thing. I'll like write it on there like 4 times and I'll help you remember.
But then if you forget it later, it's like coming back up. You're like, oh my God.
I've been haunted by a genius comedian.
It's also work stuff in there too. So. I was like, oh, I need to fucking pass the props onto this thing, and that way, prelude, whatever. Okay, so I got that one. And then it's like, hey, Bill, how about you add a writer onto the bill, which is also your name. That's funny. You can change this state bird to a crane.
He's like pointing at the crane. He's like, look, the new state bird, it could be the crane.
Hey, Bill, you know how I won Mr. Olympia 7 times? I had to crane my body. like the train. All right.
I thought it was like a pose.
Not having after school stuff is the crane of my existence. Remember at the end of Pumping Iron when I was smoking that Mary Crane? And then finally, I promised you a Frasier joke. It's like, hey, Bill, I'm going to be on this crane for Niles and Niles. And that was one shower session.
Damn. So. I'm curious what you forgot.
It's a productive ass shower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, we can continue.
All right. Cool. I'm going to throw it over to Aaron, who's going to tell us about some of the promotional material and other stuff like that. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right. Well, so some of Terminator 3's marketing and promotional tactics they're interesting. So it begins like somewhat normally with the teaser trailer debuting in theaters December of 2002 attached to Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Not bad.
And it's the super short one that we watched with the liquid metal like forming into...
Right. Into the T3.
Yeah, forming into the T3 title, which I'd imagine was somewhat disappointing after like how highly anticipated the trailer was once its release schedule was announced. Arnold announced it on his website.
Yeah.
In like December 16th, 2000, what did I say? 2?
Yep. There
was a 10-second teaser trailer on Entertainment Tonight. December 17th, it aired on Access Hollywood. December 18th, it debuted in theaters with Lord of the Rings. And also, it's just like that trailer that we watched is just kind of dull compared to how awesome the Terminator 2 teaser trailer was. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen it, right? It's basically the one that just shows Arnold's like T-101 model being assembled.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that one before.
Yeah, it's like a little over a minute long, but it looks great. And I'm sure it was probably a bit more effective at building hype for its movie than the T3 trailer, the teaser trailer was for T3. Yeah. And the strange part is it's not like they didn't have any footage of the movie at this point, because filming had wrapped on T3 in early September of 2002. The trailer wasn't released until about a week before Christmas. And I understand, like, probably not a lot of CG, like, work was finished at that point. Or maybe, I'm sure there was some. But they could at least throw in a shot of Arnold.
Yeah.
Like, even just that, like, shot of John seeing him in the vet clinic when you just see that silhouette of, like, the shotgun-wielding Arnold as he's walking down the smoke-filled hallway, that would build excitement.
Yeah, that alone.
Exactly. If you really want to drive him wild, include, like, Arnold's line, "It is time," like, before cutting away to, like, next summer or something like that. Like, build excitement for the movie. That trailer...
Just literally anything.
Exactly. Instead, they decided to go with the trailer that looks like it was made up, like, 20 minutes before it had to be turned in. Like the trailer guy's like, oh fuck. Like, I'm sure it did. Like, it was probably made by ILM or someone, but like, I'm sure.
Sure, but this is the kind, like, that thing of just the logo is the kind of thing you show at like a trade show to investors to get them excited about the prospect of the movie, not what you show to audiences to get them excited to go to a movie.
Yes, and we will end up watching because it was. I found a clip that was. The teaser trailer for Terminator 2 was attached to a different clip that I found.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was in front of some big movie or anything. Like, what movie did you say it was?
Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some weird...
Some nerd shit.
It's a movie for dorks. Yeah, exactly. No one's going to watch that shit.
Yeah, I didn't watch it in theaters.
Exactly. You're going to split 3 books into 3 movies? You need to split 1 book into 3 movies. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, idiot.
Stupid. That should have been like 6 movies.
All right. Now I'm just angry at The Hobbit because those movies sucked. Anyways.
But, okay, to be fair, they did eventually end up using that hallway shot of Arnold in like a 30-second trailer that they aired about a month later during Super Bowl XXV 2. What is that? 37. Joe probably remembers that Super Bowl.
27, but whatever.
So what? That would be 2003.
That was 2003, yes.
So the 2002 season. Oh, that's the one Super Bowl I don't fucking remember.
How do you not remember that Super Bowl?
They canceled it that year.
Wait, they can't? What?
The Raiders got their ass stomped.
Okay. It was like,
we haven't won a playoff game since then, so... It's been tough.
Sorry, when I looked it up, I was like, "Ooh, I'm not going to mention anything past that. I'm sure he'll know what I'm talking about." When
now you can name in a year past 1989, I can tell you who played in the Super Bowl. So
that's his Rain Man power.
Can you get it by the number, like the Super Bowl number, or no? Just the year?
If you give me the Roman numerals, I can figure out the number, and then I'd have to do some math, with the year. But yeah, I could probably figure it out.
Are there any that you know by the number? Like, just like, if I say just the number?
Yeah.
Just like Raider ones, or?
No. Super Bowl 30 was Dallas over Pittsburgh. Super Bowl fucking 50 was some dumbass team over the Panthers. So, like, every season, like the 1995 season, the Super Bowl was in 1996. The 1995 season was Super Bowl 30. Therefore, the 2005 season, Super Bowl 40.
Was that the
Pittsburgh over Seattle?
Okay.
Then 50, and then 60, I guess, is coming up. Not this season, but next season.
So, like the decade years, like, or the beginning of the decade? I don't know. End of?
Yeah.
Okay. Other one I remember is just the one that was in San Diego, or was it? No, it was when the Chargers played and got stomped by the 49ers. That one was just
that was 29. That was the 1984 season.
Okay, anyway.
Yes, that you're right, Chris. That is my Rain Man. That is my one fucking thing. I don't know why, but
it's just adding the numbers up and everything, just like Rain Man.
Yeah.
But
just walking around muttering to himself, Broncos, Dallas Cowboys, Broncos.
Unrelated, but I kind of miss that excitement of seeing like a new trailer in the theater during like the early days of the internet, for like when you couldn't just watch it like on your phone, which is all I do now.
Yeah, exactly.
And for some reason,
nothing's ever a surprise by the time I get to the movie.
Oh, for sure. It looks cool, like big, but I've already seen it.
Yeah, and what movie? Some movie made a shitload of money because everybody went to that movie just to watch the Star Wars.
Was it one of the?
I have one of them. Yes. Okay. So for some reason it made me think of buying tickets to, and I had to look this up, and it took a little while to look up. But Monsters Inc. just to watch the Attack of the Clones trailer, which I went with Joe, and I'm assuming it happened with Phantom Menace. Probably made like whichever trailer that was released in front of, which I didn't think about. But that one probably made way more. But I know I was with Joe because we were with our friend, and you guys left to go watch. I think you guys left to watch a horror movie, and I stayed with Sam and watched Monsters Inc. And I was like, oh, this is. I feel okay about this because that was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
But there was nothing like just watching that trailer. Like I know I did that at least once because I did it with The Dark Knight too, or The Dark Knight Rises. And it was before Mission Impossible. Like they had like.
But that's when they do like the big IMAX like preview scene. It's not just a trailer, right?
Yeah. That was with like a 7-minute like that plane footage from The Dark Knight Rises. Yep. Basically. But we also got to watch Ghost Protocol, so that worked out great.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
The Waterboy, Meet Joe Black, and The Siege.
It was with 3 movies.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Attack of the Clones. When I researched it, they had a deal with Disney or whoever to release it in front of Monsters Inc. Yeah.
And look what happened.
Yeah.
Because Disney owns Star Wars now.
Oh, yeah. But I thought you were just like making a dig at Attack of the Clones, which that's the best one.
No, you said Phantom Menace was the best one.
No, the Phantom Menace is definitely the best one. That was for Erica.
His answer changes to piss the most people off.
No, that was for Erica, who thinks Attack of the Clones is the best out of the first 3. I'm like, that is the worst one, because she's right here. That one's just not good.
Out of the first 3, yeah, that's the worst one.
Yeah. The Phantom Menace is just the best Star Wars movie. Yes. Erica still thinks Attack the Clones the best one. Sand. I hate sand. Which, that's not a bad line.
It is coarse, it's rough, and it does get everywhere.
Yeah.
Or it's coarse, it's irritating, and it gets everywhere.
He isn't wrong.
I mean, he's not wrong. I fucking hate sand, too.
It does get
you grew up in San Diego? Like, miss the beach? I'm like, no, I fucking hate the beach. There's sand and there's sharks.
Why
would I want to be there?
Erica gets it because she was in Blythe at the time. She's like, of course, I hate sand too. This guy's he's fucking nailing it. He's
speaking my language.
It's basically Tatooine of California.
It's a Tatooine of California.
There's Erica out there like, I didn't kill not just the men, but the women and the children.
Yeah, there's actually a bar that just plays that Cantina song that's in her. So they plays that once anyway. Okay, moving on. So they also promoted the movie at the Cannes Film Festival, which I always want to say Cannes. Cannes. It just sounds like Cannes Film Festival. It's like a can. It's a can. I don't know. Anyway,
Film festival for goats.
Yeah, just goats are sitting there eating cans. Anyway, May 2003, they threw a big, like, super elaborate party, and I wanted to share a couple of quotes from the Variety article covering it because they're great. Okay, so they describe Arnold arriving, and it says, quote, after 15 minutes, yes, 15 minutes, a pair of 10-foot metal robots emerged and pointed their artillery, in quotes, hands at the crowd. Suddenly, Mr. rose from the stage. The gates parted and the star appeared, shouting, "Hello, everybody," which drew whoops from hundreds of fans, which is just great because when I read that, I could totally hear him saying, like, "Hello, everybody,"
hello, everybody,
because that's what he does. But the second one's the best. And no setup, just because, it says, quote, after posing for the photographers, he left with the promise, "I'll be back," which he never says it seriously when he's doing that. But anyway, So it continues saying, and the giant robots started bobbing their heads and waving their arms in time with reggae pop music.
Why?
Oh my God.
Those fucking Mario Kassar and Andrew Benjamin know how to throw a fucking party, because when I read that, I was like, holy shit. Just imagining the Terminator robots like, as like, what's reggae pop?
Red wine or something?
The only thing that would make that better is if it was to fucking what's that song?
Mr. Funky Man.
I was just thinking, Funky Man.
I was just thinking Shaggy, like, because that's I don't know.
It wasn't me.
Or fucking what's this? The When I Get High or something like that. Like, that's what
Afro Man.
Yeah, Afro Man. Like, I don't know what reggae pop is. But
I don't think that's reggae. But
I don't know. Anyway,
I'd say reggae pop is, you're probably right, more Shaggy or Sean Paul or something.
It wasn't me or something in there. Like,
that's.
Anyway, okay, so Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines premiered Monday, June 30th. 2003 at the Mayan Theater in Los Angeles, California, with its nationwide release on Wednesday, July 2nd, 2003. It took the top spot at the box office the July 4th weekend, making $44 million, which technically made it the biggest opening weekend for an Arnold movie, beating out Batman and Robin's $42.8 million, unless you take inflation into account, which bumps Batman and Robin up to 49 and makes T3 his second biggest opening. Anyway, as always, let's check out the box office top 10 for the week, which is a very early 2000s list. So you had Terminator 3 at number 1. Number 2 was Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde, which made $22.2 million and was the other new release of the week.
Nice.
Also a disappointing sequel.
I've never seen that one. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, we watched it when it came out.
Oh, you actually went to the theater and watched it?
I don't think we went to the theater. I think we went to Blockbuster and rented it.
Wait, who's we?
Me and my parents, mom and my dad.
Okay. I forgot you're a lot younger than we are.
I was 13.
Okay. So who did you watch it with?
I don't remember actually seeing it, but I watched Legally Blonde again recently. I'm like, damn, this movie's good. And then I asked my wife. She's like, nah, 2 kind of sucks.
We're not watching that movie. Yeah, okay.
Like, all right.
Okay.
Anyways.
Okay, so number 3 was Charlie's Angels. It was a lot of sequels, by the way. Number 3 was Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which made $14 million. Never saw it, but it was directed by McG, who would go on to direct Terminator Salvation in 2009. And I don't think I saw... I think I might have seen the first one, but I definitely didn't see the second one.
No, I've never seen them.
Anyway, number 4, Finding Nemo, $11 million, which I believe is the
movie.
Only other movie in the top 10 that I saw in the theater.
Yeah.
Besides Terminator 3.
How long had that been out?
At that point, I am pretty sure, because I looked, I was like, holy shit. I think it was 6 weeks at this point. So, and it was still hanging in at 4, which we'll get to.
That was a good one.
Yeah, we'll get to why in a little bit. But number 5 was Hulk, which was $8.2 million.
Yeah.
I did see that in theaters. So far I've seen 3 of these in theaters.
Okay. Number 6, I guarantee neither of you saw in theaters, which was Sinbad, Legends of the Seven Seas, which made $6.8 million and was animated. Did you watch? Oh, this was also a new release.
2003? I always think of that movie as a late 90s movie. Wow.
Well, I wanted to see it, but then I realized it wasn't Sinbad, it was Sinbad.
Oh, you wanted to see from you're like, oh,
Jingle All the Way
high. Yeah.
Sinbad. Yeah.
So
Finding Nemo was released May 18th, 2003. So
June. About 6 months.
So,
or six
about
weeks.
6 or 7 weeks,
So apparently this movie was a huge bomb and ended up, Sinbad, not Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Huge bomb and ended up leading to DreamWorks switching their focus to 3D animated films. This was actually the last hand-drawn animated movie that they released.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, because it did so bad.
Well, and the rest
that probably was not the problem.
Yeah. Well, the rest of fucking DreamWorks fell apart too. I watched some
Oh, really?
YouTube documentaries about it. Oh, they were getting into movies and video games and had all their other and TV shows.
Just spreading themselves too thin, or?
Yeah, and it just all kind of didn't work out. And I think they ended up getting sold back to fucking Disney.
So number 7, 28 Days Later, $6 million. Watched it once. I don't remember. Apparently that's one of the good ones on this list. I don't.
Yeah, good movie.
That's a great movie. I did see that in theaters also.
Okay, I got to watch that one again because it's apparently one of the better zombie movies.
Danny Boyle.
Yeah. No, that's a really fucking good movie. It still holds up.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 8 was The Italian Job, $4.1 million, and I
saw that one in theaters.
I did. Man, you guys saw a lot of these ones in theaters. I didn't want. I've seen it, and it's Mark Wahlberg. It's Edward Norton being forced to do a movie, which I'm pretty sure this was part of. I think he ended up making a deal with whoever distributed this movie, and he got stuck doing this movie because of the deal that he made was one of the 3 movies. Anyway, number 9 was Bruce Almighty, which, okay. Hey, Joe, will you look how long Bruce Almighty had been in theaters at that point?
Yes, I believe I did see that in theaters also.
Did not see that one in theaters either.
That was good.
I mean, you guys were going to the movie a lot more. Or, sorry, Joe, wait, why wasn't I invited to any?
That might have been around the time where you stopped hanging out with us. So
yeah, it was your fault.
That makes sense. Also, there was
May 14th they got released, or May 23rd.
Okay, so this was about 6 weeks later too, ish.
Yeah, 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then number 10 was Too Fast, Too Furious, which I know I've seen, but I don't know. Anyway, this is probably just me talking trash, but apparently it's not, because this seems like kind of a list for the 4th of July weekend, but you guys have seen a bunch of them. Like with the exception of Finding Nemo and apparently 28 Days Later. Like just the quality of the movie, I don't know. It's a lot of sequels too, which...
Yeah, I mean, that would become more and more of a thing as the 2000s went on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a lot more sequels and franchise stuff.
So anyway, T3 lasted 1 week at the top spot due to a couple of pretty big films opening during its second week. Well, one really big film, and then another one that I think was expected to be big, but I'm pretty sure ended up bombing and may or may not have caused Sean Connery to retire from acting. So, yep.
I saw that one in theaters.
I did too. That movie was dog shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking about The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which you guys both saw in theaters?
Yep.
It's really that bad?
It's pretty bad. Like, it's like a... When I was 13, it was like perfectly entertaining, but it's pretty goddamn bad.
Okay.
When I was 19, it was pretty dog shit, so I haven't seen it since.
Well, it opened up as the number 2 movie that weekend, earning $23 million and bumping Terminator 3, which made $19 million, to the 3 spot. And both those movies didn't even come close to beating that week's number 1 film, which was a live-action adventure fantasy film from Disney that would eventually end up as one of the top-grossing movies of 2003. Any guesses as to what that might be?
Adventure fantasy in 2003.
Holes.
Holes?
No, not that's not really.
I'm sorry, that's
fantasy.
only a funny guess because I don't know. I'm actually curious because
that's around the right time for that. Though.
No, it is around the right time. I was just like, I would never have guessed that Holes would have made that much money.
It's a good movie.
Okay, so it's based on one of the theme park rides.
Oh, Pirates
of the Caribbean. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
which was
I saw that in theaters. Yeah,
I saw that in theaters. Yeah.
I definitely didn't see that in theaters. See, I saw all these movies at when we were in the big house. That's when I saw them. But anyway, so yes, Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl pulled in $46.6 million its opening weekend, making more than the combined weekend total box office totals of both League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which was $23 million, and Terminator 3, which was $19 million. Granted, Terminator 3 did do that the week before, but it was also competing, like it did it with like the top, I think, 4 movies, but it was also competing with like you're competing against I feel like it's a bit different with the Pirates because you're going up against a Terminator movie.
Yeah, you're going up against Terminator and
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
But like,
whereas Terminator was going up a bunch of shit that was still popular from 6 weeks ago.
Exactly, already out. I think Charlie's Angels was on like the second week. Legally Blonde is a comedy, and it's a romantic comedy.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of
limited.
like counter programming to Terminator. It's not
exactly.
Really
so it's like it is, but it's like for a different audience.
Yeah.
But like that was like I was like, holy shit, they doubled the buck. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Terminator 3 eventually ends up with a total worldwide box office gross of $433.37 million, which made it the 7th highest grossing movie of 2003. Behind The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, which made $1.1 billion.
Damn.
Finding Nemo, which made $941 million.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah. The Matrix Reloaded, $740 million.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl, $654 million. Bruce Almighty, which made $484 million, which I did not realize how popular that movie was, and that's crazy for a comedy.
Yeah, I mean, comedies used to do big business.
Yeah.
Like, this is starting to get out of that era, but yeah, Jim Carrey movies were just like a sure hit.
I feel like, I'm curious if this was his last, like one that placed in, like, the top 10 or top 15, because what was after this, like, Dick and Jane, and then...
Yes Man was a few years after this, and then that was like 2007 or something.
Yeah, which probably did okay, but like I can't imagine any. Maybe
did okay, but not huge like this.
I Love You, Philip Morris.
That was more independent though. So
that's like an indie movie.
I can't think of one that was like big like that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then The Last Samurai, which did $454 million, which was number 6, and then you had. What was I say? 7th? Yeah. And then you had Terminator right under that. Anyway, also...
What was 8, 9, and 10?
I did not look it up.
Okay. Well, then skip it. Hey, everyone. Joe here. Quick note. We actually put our crack researcher, Nigel, on to find out what was 8, 9, and 10 for these movies. But
yeah, to give you that info that we may have been too lazy to look up.
Yeah, but that old bloke passed out. So I guess I'll just read them off for you. So at number 8, we have The Matrix Revolution.
Nigel Sinclair, at your service.
Welcome back, Nigel.
Hi, Nigel. Do you have too much sleepy tea or not enough wakey tea or whatever the fuck you guys call it?
Have we started yet?
We're
just
reading the numbers right now.
I was just starting to read them off, but, this is your work, so, yeah, you go ahead. Take it over.
Yes. The year was 2003. England defeated Australia.
No, Nigel. No.
In the
Nigel, no one cares. Just get to the movies.
Yeah, just Joe, you can just read them off. Let's let Nigel do the numbers. How's that?
Okay. All right. So, as I said before, at number 8, we had Matrix Revolutions.
And how much did that make, Nigel?
$427.3 million.
Dollars, not quid or whatever you guys call it over there. At number 9, we had X2 X-Men United. How much did that make, Nigel?
$407.7 million.
That's true. All right. Okay, yeah. Thank you. At number 10, we had Bad Boys 2. How much did that rake in there, Nigel?
Starring William Smith.
Okay. And that made how much?
$273.3 million.
That's a hell of a drop from 407 to 273.
Yeah.
Like a big gap, which, I mean, I guess makes sense because those are all both sequels, but like, just because, I don't know, it's just a way bigger movie.
Well, I mean, it depends on when they came out. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
okay. Nigel's British, so he's probably thinking mind the gap on this one.
Yes. Nigel Sinclair at your service.
But all right, well, thank you, Nigel. I appreciate you doing this research and jumping on here really quick from your little nap ski. So
yeah, seriously, thank you so much, Nigel. You always do such a great job with this stuff, and it's just a really big he's asleep again. All right. That's it. So,
back to the regular episode.
How does he do that? Anyway, I know I also said that the list of top 10 movies for the week that T3 was released were kind of meh, but half of them ended up placing in the top 15 grossing films for that year, and I don't remember how I stumbled across. Oh, by the way, the half of them would be, so it was Finding Nemo, Terminator 3, Hulk, Bruce Almighty, and Charlie's Angels were all in the top 15.
Damn.
And I don't remember how I stumbled across this, but apparently 2003 was one of the best years as far as total box office sales. Like when the numbers are adjusted for inflation, 2003 ends up possibly being the second highest grossing year ever.
Damn.
Yeah.
After what?
2002.
1984. Oh.
2002? Oh.
Right. Yeah, 2002 was with Spider-Man, and I think...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it.
And then I think it was 2000... It went like
presumably
2000...
Two Towers, right?
2, 3, and 4, I believe.
Not just the Spider-Man, but the Spider-Women and Spider-Children, too.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we call a callback in the comedy business, folks.
This might not be entirely accurate, by the way, because the list I found only goes back to 1995 and is only for domestic releases.
Got it.
So I started doing more digging because I'm crazy and like really anal, and not having a definitive answer for it just eats away at me. But I finally had to force myself to move on once I realized I'd wasted fucking hours trying to find out what was like seriously. There's one thing later that I spent more time doing, but like wait till I'm like, this doesn't matter. Why do you keep doing this? And then I tried to pull myself away, but then I just went right back to it. Anyway, but basically it appears that the more modern method of tracking box office numbers didn't really seem to begin until the early 80s. But supposedly ticket sales in like the 1940s and 50s were the highest they've ever been domestically due to the 40s and 50s and there being like nothing else to fucking do. Like you can either go to the movies, you can make babies, or you can die in a war. Like in that order, pretty much. Like, I don't know. I'd originally had like turning on jukeboxes by kicking them on that list, but that's part of the making babies part. So like, because what else are you going to do? You're like, hey.
Yeah, that's what makes it the golden age.
Especially that dying in the war.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so I believe I think I read. I was also drinking when I started. Like I was like, this is taking too long, and it went long enough to where it transitioned from me just doing research and waiting to work, and then to where I wasn't going to work anymore. I'm like, well, might as well make some drinks. Well, anyway, so I believe I read the studios weren't in the practice of releasing box office numbers for movies unless it was a big release. Yeah. But I read a lot of stuff and then the vodka, so that might not be 100% correct. But like it sounds like, like if they weren't going to release the numbers unless it was like a huge release. And basically bragging.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit about,
Yeah. That's it with that stuff. So you guys want to check out some videos for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Biatch, sort of, videos. Anyway, I say sort of because this first one is actually from 2002. And it's with Arnold on Live with Regis and Kelly to promote Collateral Damage. And I believe they're doing like a fashion week on the show, so that's why Regis is kind of dressed up like a leather daddy on his way to church for some reason. I don't know. You'll see it. Like it's just the best. Anyway, and they're not really talking about much, so I guess let's just play it for a couple minutes to hear about Arnold. He talks about hanging out with that famous like French singer Jean Bon Jovi. Yeah.
God damn it.
So that's the first one. It should be all right.
13 world bodybuilding titles. The one and the only, the Austrian Oak, Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, Arnold, good to see you again. Thank you, yeah.
If it wasn't for the chain, I would think Regis might be going for pirate, too.
Wow.
We wore them just
Yeah.
Here we are saying who's got the best food.
Arnold has the
And it
best
turns
food.
out that Arnold's got the best
Yes.
food. Check these out. Let's see.
Oh my god.
Wow, you're really into
Yeah,
boots,
some
huh?
silver-studded cowboy
This is a
boots.
Christmas gift from my wife.
Oh, really?
She
They're
has
beautiful.
good taste, and
Yeah.
it takes a half a year to build those. They make those hand tools, the whole
Uh-huh,
thing, silver
wow.
and the leather and
A
all this
half
stuff.
a year to build your shoes.
Yeah.
Half a year to make those shoes.
They got to be $26, $27, right?
Actually, I got them for a deal for $52.
Now, are people afraid to make things like that for you? Are they afraid that you're going to come in as maybe the Terminator if they screw it up and don't get it right?
Well, they know there's big trouble if they screw it up. But, it's fun. And I have like 20-some pairs of boots.
for you.
And I love all this. And so I said to myself, today I have to have this on because it's a special week where you guys dress up as different characters.
Yes,
Today you're like
sure.
a rock and roll guy. You try to be
Yeah.
like Bon Jovi.
And how do you like it?
Or Urbano or somebody like
Bon
that.
Jovi, eat his heart out.
Jovi, okay, exactly, yeah. Well, I talked to Bon Jovi just earlier, and he said to me, he's so angry that you look better than him.
Yeah.
Well, they're very good friends, you
They
know.
are good friends, and Bon Jovi's got an acting career going with Ally McBeal. But I understand you want to play in his band.
I do.
Yeah?
I mean, I think it was so satisfying. Imagine to be able to entertain 100,000 people in a stadium like he does.
Wow.
Must be extraordinary.
What instrument do you play?
I would like to play them all. I mean, because I'm so bad in reality, I cannot,
You know
I
what
cannot
was
touch
great,
anything.
though? That if anybody booed you in any way, you could come off the stage and smash them in the head with your guitar.
Absolutely. See, that was the idea. We all should be together on that stage.
People would
we can
applaud
work
out
together.
of fear.
Hey, Arnold, check it out.
Stop it. Anyway,
She's funnier than I remember.
I've never really watched this show like live or whatever, so I don't know if this is like in the normal format. But Regis is pretty good at just making it seem like you're just watching them bullshit. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if maybe like I noticed the question this time, but the first time I was like, they aren't talking about anything. Like,
Yeah. Just kind of babbling, yeah.
exactly.
Shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which I noticed this time he asked him a question, but Regis was very good at that. I don't know.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. So this next one is a little bit more Terminator adjacent. It's Claire Danes in 2003 on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. She's there promoting her movie, The Hours, which I think we talked about. But she also talks to Conan about filming Terminator 3. And we're going to start with Conan. We're going to start with Conan telling a story. Why am I correcting it now? That's weird. Like, Anyway, telling a story I believe we've heard before, but it leads into a pretty good story from Claire Danes, so go ahead.
Working with Arnold Schwarzenegger, we've had him on the show, and what surprised me, and I shouldn't say that because I'd always heard this, but he seemed like a very funny guy.
Yeah, he is funny. You know, he's as much of a comic as he is an action hero. Sometimes unintentionally. I mean, because, you know, he's such an icon. It's startling to see, you know, him sort of behave as a human being. And, you know, he would say, I'm hungry, I want eggs, you know.
Him saying mundane things is really funny.
Yeah.
I swear to God, this is true. I was like a year ago, I went to this place in Mexico with my wife, and it was just after I got married, and we're just hanging out there, and it was this nice little resort, and then we're there having breakfast in the morning, and I see Arnold and his wife and their kids come in, and Arnold's holding the bag full of like kids' toys and stuff like that, and you know, I just think of him as the action hero in the Terminator.
It's startling to see him out of context.
And he was saying things like, no, stay away from her, don't hit her. Don't touch that, look out, I'll get you, no, stop it, cut it out, you kids. It was really funny to see him do
Pause it real fast.
Kids.
I'm actually curious if that's the first instance of Conan telling that particular Arnold story.
Yeah, because I know I've heard it before, but it's probably... Yeah, that's probably one of the first times, because he said it was, like a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And... I mean, who else is he? I don't know. I guess if anybody he talks to Arnold Schwarzenegger about. But anyway, Go ahead.
But no, he was very generous, actually, because my boyfriend's nephew just had his bar mitzvah during the course of the shooting, and I was meant to go, and I couldn't. I had to miss it because I was, you know,
you're working,
fleeing from, you know, machines that were going to, devastate the world. So I thought, oh, it'd be kind of cool if, like, Arnold did a little tape, you know, to wish him happy birthday.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, congratulations on becoming a man and stuff.
Right.
And he was very cooperative, and he just put together the most awesome bar mitzvah video. It was great.
What kind of thing was he saying on a bar mitzvah video? Don't you want to know? I'm just curious. What's Arnold Schwarzenegger saying on a bar mitzvah video?
Well, you think you've become a man, but it takes a lot more than just turning 13, you know? You have to thank your parents every day, all day long.
You know, to me it sounds really menacing. This poor kid is like, you think you become a man? You haven't become a man! You're not a man yet! Can you imagine this poor kid being traumatized?
In a very encouraging way, actually. But he did this really cool gag where he put his thumb in his mouth and he blew his muscles up. He went, let me pump my muscles up. And I can't do it, obviously, because I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I can't do it either.
Imagine, you know?
You probably have more arm muscle than I do.
Stop it. That would be a pretty sweet bar mitzvah gift to get. Basically a cameo from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I think the one I've heard about that is like, and then Arnold gets the phone call. He's like, I saw you on the news. And he gets the call. He's like, hello, or something like that.
I just love Conan's Arnold impression.
Gives the Mrs. Doubtfire, hello.
Just his Arnold impression is just like when it eventually like breaks down into like that.
Just complete gibberish, yeah.
Yeah, just making noises. Okay. And then before we get to the last one, I had one thing I left out of the premiere info that I wanted to cover real fast because it leads into something that we were supposed to watch on here as part of the promo stuff. And I'll explain why we're not going to. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, Terminator 3 was released July 2nd, 2002. It then began its international rollout on July 3rd, with Arnold attending the July 5th premiere in Tokyo that basically kicked off his international press tour. And Arnold actually mentions in his book that he made a quick stop before the Tokyo premiere in order to celebrate the July 4th holiday with U.S. troops stationed in Iraq. He even had a special screening of Terminator 3 for the troops while he was there. Although it took place at a somewhat unorthodox location, which Arnold says, like he describes in his 2012 book, Total Recall, the name of the book, but he says, quote, on July 4th, 3 months after U.S.-led coalition forces had seized Baghdad, I was in the Iraqi capital showing Terminator 3 and entertaining troops at a former palace of the toppled dictator Saddam Hussein. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. Which just is crazy, and it sounds
Man,
like
I bet he had a nice movie theater.
It just sounds like something that like a coworker who's always embellishing stories would say. You guys are watching Terminator 3? Man, I have not seen that since I watched it with Arnold Schwarzenegger that one time at Saddam Hussein's palace. Like, like it just sounds, it sounds like something that doesn't happen. I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway. Arnold then explains how he entertained troops while simultaneously giving us a textbook example of a mistake a lot of new comics make, not being able to read a room. So he says, quote, I opened as I always do with the joke. He then explains his joke. He says, and it's quotes and quotes, but it is really wild driving around here, I told him. I mean, the poverty, and you see there's no money. It is disastrous financially, and then there's a leadership vacuum, pretty much like in California right now, end quote. And I'm just like, there's no mention of whether or not that joke landed, but that's probably the wrong crowd to be joking around with. Like, I know he's like, especially because no one knows at this point that he's running for governor of California because it's still a secret.
Yeah.
And he hasn't announced it, so it's probably not the best idea to compare like a war-torn Iraq to California. But as I don't know a dick about politics, like I can just imagine like just kind of quiet, and then like one guy starts crying, thinking about how he like shot some people the other day. Like, I just like
I don't know why I'm laughing at that.
I know, like it's just you got to read the room, bud.
Yeah,
I mentioned this because it segues into what I originally wanted to show us, which was a clip of his appearance on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno on August 6th, 2003, where he announces his candidacy. But it has been completely scrubbed from the internet. Which
really?
Yeah, which I found kind of strange. Like, I could not find it anywhere. This was the other thing when I said earlier that I spent way too much time looking for it. I spent basically my whole day looking for this fucking clip. And I knew it didn't exist anywhere because there's someone, I found a Reddit thread of this guy that was talking about, he's like, I need to find this clip because my professor at whatever school he was going to says he's like, he used to have the clip, but he got like, he didn't save, it got archived or it got deleted or whatever. And he didn't save it correctly. And he says that anyone that finds the clip gets an automatic A. So you've got people like trying to help him find it, and he's like, I knew this clip didn't exist, but I went through the archives. Like, it was such a waste of a day.
Is there a reason why it seems to have been scrubbed?
No idea. I was trying to think of that too. Like NBC had it on their website, like as part of like a clip from the Leno or whatever, and it's just it says not available anymore. So I don't know.
Weird.
Anyway. There's a tiny clip from the episode from like that's on a news report that I'm going to show you guys, which is what we're about to watch. But
okay,
it's like very tiny, so I'm going to stop you and then we'll skip forward a little bit. Anyway, go ahead.
Gotcha.
Adrian Britton reports.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, ladies and gentlemen. Unashamedly bringing showbiz to politics, Arnold Schwarzenegger chose the Jay Leno Tonight Show to announce he's running for office as he called on the people of California to oust the current governor.
He is failing them terribly. And this is why he needs to be recalled. Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm going to run for governor of the state of California.
After hinting for weeks he wouldn't stand, this was Hollywood.
You can skip to 210, but holy shit, they go crazy.
I wonder if that breaks some sort of campaign law.
What?
Him making the announcement for his candidacy and also sort of bad-mouthing, who was it?
Gray Davis.
Gray Davis. Who, yeah, I couldn't remember who. But like sort of bad-mouthing the current governor when he's going to be running, or what, like to call for a recall. I don't know. It just seems
like, what do you mean like bad-mouthing? Like he can't say anything bad about...
If he is going to campaign as a Republican in a race for governor, there are laws on the books about networks being able to give time to candidates. Like you have to give equal time to all to both parties.
Gotcha.
And so I wonder if him announcing it on a major network when the other side, again, it's like a weird thing because he's not technically running against anyone yet, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if NBC is like, we're going to scrub that because it's not strictly super legal, but I don't know.
I don't know. Like he definitely had like advisors at this time because, like I said, like we discussed, he was already thinking about running before shooting Terminator 3. So
yeah. So sorry, where do you want me to skip to?
210. If you want to go back a few seconds, it just shows the other candidates, which is just they're basic. Keep going. A little bit right there.
Okay.
But like his screen character, he says he's going to brave it out. He'll have some eccentric rivals to compete against the current governor, Gray Davis.
We've had enough gray and brown, and we need pink in California.
Then there's the porn publisher, Larry Flint.
Vote for a smut peddler who cares.
This Californian election will be anything but dreary.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Americans thrive on celebrity status, although little is known about Schwarzenegger's...
Okay, first of all, those two were... That was Angeline or whatever, and then Larry Flint. But first of all, I love how the British Reporter dude is like, Americans thrive on celebrity status, which is great coming from a country whose paparazzi and or media had like at least a small part in Princess Diana dying, so whatever. Those Americans, they love the celebrities. And then the like Prince walks by, he's like, holy cripeys. I don't know how they talk. Goes running after him. Like, dude, you fuckers are still focused on that shit. Like, Kate Middleton, they basically had to make you feel bad about her having cancer to leave her alone.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, this isn't all written down. This is me ranting. But anyway, but yeah, like I said before, we'll eventually end up covering his political career in a bonus episode. So we're going to just move past it for now. So let's move on. This is the last one. It's actually something I'm sure you've both seen before. And is actually a deleted scene from the movie. And I believe, I may be wrong about this, but I believe it's the only deleted scene from the film that they actually released. Because I know there's a few others. But do you guys know which one I'm talking about before we watch it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Joe, yeah?
Possibly. I don't know. Oh, yes, I do.
Especially when you see the title.
The title's up there. Yes,
okay. Okay, so this is a deleted scene from Terminator 3, which explains exactly why the T-101 model looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So let's watch it.
All right.
Oh, and it's gonna end up leading into the T2 teaser trailer that I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Which is at the end of this, but I saw it and I was like, fuck it, might as well watch it because it's fucking awesome. It's like a minute long. But anyway, go ahead.
All right, and play.
Hey guys, Aaron cutting in here once again to let you know that we're only going to play a tiny part of the deleted scene because it's a bit long and can be sort of hard to follow with just the audio. But if you want to check out this goofy as hell scene, we actually included the YouTube link in the episode description, so you can find it there. We're also going to post the entire scene on our socials, so definitely make sure to check them out. Oh, and we also did end up watching the Terminator 2 teaser trailer, which is just awesome, and is actually included at the end of that same deleted scene video that I just mentioned, which you can find a link for in the episode description. So yeah, check those out, but for now, enjoy this cartoony as hell clip from the deleted scene.
Using designs generated by Skynet, we need no longer risk the well-being of our men and women in uniform. Robots will take their place on the front lines.
Hi, I'm Chief Master Sergeant William Candy. I was honored to be selected by CRS in the ongoing effort to save American lives.
I don't know about that accent.
We can fix it.
CRS brings you the face of the future. Ooh, it's me.
Okay, real quick.
So much
we just watched the T2 trailer, and how much better is that than the T3 trailer?
Like so much better.
That like when I watched the trailer the first time, like recently, I was like, "Holy shit, I want to watch T2 now!" Like, that trailer's fucking awesome.
Yeah. That would work as just the trailer, but that was just the teaser. But
yeah, the teaser trailer, but it's so good. But secondly, like as far as the that deleted scene.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's dumb.
So in case you decided, very dumb. In case you decided not to watch it, every time you hear that cartoonish Southern voice, it's coming out of Arnold's mouth.
Yes.
And he's playing like a military officer.
The dub isn't very good. Like
it's not very good, but also I think it's a function of the fact that is such a cartoonishly stupid accent.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, okay, so Jonathan Mostow actually explained to thehollywoodnews.com in 2017 why he took the scene out. and also gave an explanation about amping up the comedy in the film. So saying, quote, "With that film, we already knew we were facing a tremendous audience. My biggest concern was that we would let them down after trying to fill the big shoes of James Cameron. I wanted the audience to accept us and not think of us as a shameless effort to try and take their money. So I made a conscious decision to use comedy as a method of disarming the audience. I thought that if I could make them laugh, they would unfold their arms a little bit." Which, sure.
Sure, valid, I guess.
But with the Sergeant Candy scene, we thought that was a bit of a step too far. There was too much comedy in that scene, and it was funny, but ultimately too much. That's why I decided to take the sequence out. In retrospect, the humorous side of the film was one of the biggest criticisms from the core fan base. I think they would have preferred a more serious film. Which, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, oh, and hey, since we're already at it, we may as well hear the rest of what Jonathan Mostow had to say when looking back at the film. And I also have a few comments from Claire Danes, Arnold, and James Cameron. First off, though, I don't think I mentioned it before. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but Terminator 3 has a 70% fresh tomato rating.
That is surprising.
Yeah, that was surprising when I saw that. What was the last one we looked at? Was it Red Heat? I mean, it had to be Red Heat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ties it with Terminator Dark Fate, which was also surprising. I mean, I like that movie, but like,
yeah,
everyone shits on it. But it ties it for third as far as a tomato meter rating for Terminator movies, with it beating Terminator Salvation's 33% and Terminator Genesis 26%. Which I would have thought those were flip-flopped.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, as far as the cast and crew looking back on the movie, let's start with Claire Danes, who didn't really seem like she was interested in doing any more action films. Even during interviews she was doing for Terminator 3. Saying in a 2003 interview with BBC to promote the movie, saying, quote, "It's not on my immediate agenda. It wasn't like I was hankering to make an action movie, it appeared. It was an anomalous occurrence." So smart. This is that Harvard or wherever she went? Stanford?
Yeah.
It's that education. Anomalous? Like, who says that?
San Francisco State, one of those great schools.
People that go to college say that.
One of those equally great schools.
Yeah, one of those top 10 in the U.S.
She says, "I'm thankful for it, because I had a wonderful time, but I don't imagine I'm going to be in the habit of doing huge blockbusters," end quote.
Well, she wasn't wrong.
Yeah, because she also told IGN when asked about a possible Terminator 4, quote, "I mean, I guess I'm available." I mean, I'm contractually obliged. Whoopee. And it says whoopee, but without the quotation mark.
Whoopee.
Like the exclamation mark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it says whoopee. So she must have been like whoopee. Because
that's my exact response when my wife wants to hang out with me. It's like, ugh.
Or with a question mark.
Don't laugh at that.
Or with a question mark at the end.
That just sounded sad.
Well, it was supposed to be a joke, and you guys are supposed to laugh.
I was like,
nobody did.
Poor Laura. That's like a King of Queens joke. He's like, whenever my wife, that's like a sitcom joke. Whenever my wife wants to hang out with me, you know, that nag.
Yeah, that's true. Shit. I guess I'm getting old.
You're making CBS comedy jokes.
Yeah, like, take my wife, please. You know, stuff like that.
Seriously, I'm going to fucking kill her. Anyway, she continues, she says, it's very ambiguous, the whole issue, whether or not we're going to make yet another installment. But she does not sound jazzed whatsoever, which I don't blame her. Like, looking through her IMDb, the closest she came to action was Homeland, and I think that's more of like a political...
I was just about to ask about that, because I've never seen it. I don't know how action-y it is or not. It always looked kind of action-y, but yeah.
I feel like it's... did either of you watch The Americans?
No.
Watch the first season.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about that. Not on here, but we did. I feel like it's more like closer to that, to where it's not like it's like a it's a political thriller, right, Joe? Like that's what you would call it. Like, it's not action.
Yeah, and you can have like action thrillers. Like I just got done watching Jonathan Mostow's Breakdown, probably like
nice
30 minutes before. I've done my homework. I watched Breakdown. I watched the game.
How'd you like Breakdown?
I watched Dante's Peak. I like Breakdown. You were right. It was good. It was exactly what I was expecting. Like, I think I just really like thrillers.
90s thrillers.
Yeah.
Because you watched the game too, right? And that was...
I I love the game. Like, I mean, to be fair, it was pretty high when I watched it the first time. But, you know, I understand why David Fincher doesn't like it, and he talks about the last third of the movie. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Wait, did he talk shit about that movie? Did you look it up?
Yeah, some YouTube video. But anyways, but yeah, I watched it, and then it was the first time I rented a movie since Blockbuster, but I rented it on YouTube or whatever for $3, and then I had it for 3 days, and then I watched it again with my wife before it expired.
Nice.
So,
the game.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Breakdown together?
Yeah, we just did.
Yeah.
And Dante's Peak earlier today also.
What's Dante's Peak?
I mean, it was just as good as you expect. So, like, it wasn't, you know, when you have this idea in your head about a movie, like you watched, you know, when you're, I mean, every movie you've watched is when you were younger. That's not my, you know, and I think that's a Mitch Hedberg joke, but, you know, like when you're much younger and you're like, oh, I should revisit that. Maybe it's like way better than I expected or remembered, or maybe it's like way shittier. No, this movie was just like right on par. Like it's, you know, the first half is like a good build up with Pierce Brosnan, that man is very fucking handsome. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Wait, this was post Miss Doubtfire, right? I think.
Yeah. Yes. And this is after GoldenEye.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Because I was like, when we watch whenever Erica watches Miss Doubtfire, I'm like, dude, Pierce Brosnan, go for Pierce Brosnan. Come on.
Yeah.
Robin Williams is
what? I mean, Robin Williams is A, very hairy, B, very loud and funny, and C, lives in San Francisco. So what more do you want in a man? Okay.
Pierce Brosnan.
Hey, shut up. But yeah, the first half is like it's setting up with like Pierce and Linda Hams, you know, and it's like a good setup. It's like entertaining, but you know, obviously, you know, the volcano is going to fucking explode.
Yeah, like he's trying to like pierce her Brosnan.
Yes, exactly. God damn it, that's stupid. And then, you know, like it, and then it turns into a disaster movie, and you know, that shit's always awesome. Also, I think I mentioned, might have been on, I don't know how our release is going to go. So if you're listening to this at home or on the road, or literally if you're listening to this besides us three talking right now, might be the same episode. But I remembered I believe we used the term old broad. And when I was listening back to it, I'm like, is broad offensive? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it is like a little bit, but like not like, you know.
Okay. Somewhat depending on the context you use it, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I kind of merged like Betty White and Lake Placid with, it was Linda Hamilton's ex-mother-in-law here. She didn't want to leave her place. Spoilers. Whatever. It's a fucking 25-year-old movie. It's not that good. But she didn't want to leave her place. So the kids fucking steal a car and drive up there. Then Pierce and fucking Linda Hams have to go up to save the kids. And then they're in a boat. But the lake is like acid because of volcano shit. And then she gets out and like drags the boat so she can save them all. And
the mother-in-law?
Like, yeah.
Oh.
So she's the hero in this.
I see.
Yep. Yeah. And then she gets all acid burned in her lower half and then dies because she's old, not because of the acid.
Oh, really? She dies from the oldness?
No. Yeah.
She's like
ignore my legs. Ignore my legs. It's not my flesh melting off that I'm dying from. It's just because I'm old. No.
I've lived a good life. I'm curious if Dante's Peak is better than Volcano, because I like Volcano, but
apparently Volcano got a little bit better reviews.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I feel like it's more serious too, but it's also like, really, is it? Because it's a volcano in the middle of LA. So.
Yeah. I have to go back and watch that.
That one's good. I like that one.
One thing I will say, which I love, and I think I mentioned this on here before, but movies back in the day just fucking ended. Like Dante's Peak, I mean, it's a fucking, you guys know what's going to happen. Like, hey, they all survive. Some people die, but not your main characters. Like, they get saved, credits. Like, Breakdown, you know, it was like the climax and then credits.
It does just end, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was like another word.
Yeah, just when they deal with what they're dealing with, I think the movie just ends, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Demolition Man's the same way.
No, that past the bathroom joke.
No.
Like he's like, but what about the seashells or something like that? I'm like, wait a second. You've been here for at least 3 days. Have you not wiped your ass for 3 fucking days? Either he hasn't wiped his ass or he's been washing it off in the sink in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, there's no other way. Like, because he's like, I don't understand these 3 seashells. Or he ends up taking like papers with him in there and wiping his ass off. Like,
yeah, he's got all those fucking indecency fines, right?
Yeah, he keeps saying fuck, and gets just to get some more paper from the machine. Paper. Yeah. Okay, but really, like, as far as Breakdown, you saw like the way that Terminator 3 should have been more like how Breakdown and U571 were. Like, especially Breakdown. He knows how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think that's a lot more of the C2 boys, Yadni Vajna and
Mario Kassar.
The other guy, Mario Kassar, than it is Jonathan Mostow.
Yeah, those are studio notes.
Yeah, but I also have... Okay, so let's continue, because I also have stuff, because we're going to move on to Jonathan Mostow from here. But anyway, so he had a bit more to say about Terminator 3, talking about it in a few different interviews over the years. And there was actually a pretty good one he did with Vulture in 2021 for the Blu-ray release of Breakdown. And he's pretty candid about Terminator 3 when asked about it.
Isn't Vulture in jail?
Yes. Sorry, he did an interview with Michael Keaton in 2021 for the Blu-ray release of Breakdown. There you go.
Oh, fucking stupid.
I can't do a Michael. Who can do a Michael Keaton impression? You kind of, it's just moving your head while you're talking. It's like doing this.
Somebody did
I've seen plenty of movies with Michael Keaton, and I can't tell you. It's like I can't even imagine his voice in my head.
Very intense, but I don't even know the voice. Yeah,
somebody on SNL did a Michael Keaton, but I can't remember who it was.
Was it good?
In like a Celebrity Jeopardy, it was at least recognizable. I don't know if it was like good.
Okay, well, it also says Michael Keaton right below him. So
yeah, but no, it was okay. But anyway.
So they ask him about the bleak ending, and he attributes it to the film technically being an independent release, and it actually was touted as like the most expensive independent film at the time of its release. And I'm not sure if it still holds that title. Feel free to look it up. I don't know. Let us know. Whoever. Anyway, but yeah, he said that T3, had T3 been a studio film, they never would have been able to end the movie the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually makes an interesting observation / admission while discussing the ending, saying, quote, "I also wanted that to be a surprise for the audience." Are you looking it up, Chris?
No. I was looking it up. The highest grossing independent film, which is not the same thing, is Passion of the Christ, which makes sense.
Well, yeah,
but
okay,
according to the internet, at least initial search, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets is considered the most expensive indie movie.
Isn't that the Luc Besson movie?
Yeah. It's the one that he kind of like inspired him to make Fifth Element. And then he went, like 20 years later, he went and actually made the movie.
Okay, so... yeah, he actually makes an interesting observation / admission while discussing the ending, saying, quote, "I also wanted that to be a surprise for the audience. So we said to Warner Brothers and Sony, we really want to keep this a secret. So we scheduled the premiere for just 2 nights before. We scheduled it right before the release, and the publicity people were really good about getting all the journalists to have no spoilers, hold the reviews and everything else. But looking back, I feel like had we teased a little more that there was a surprise coming, it might have actually been better for the box office domestically. It may have been one of the reasons why the film did better overseas, because by then the cat was out of the bag," end quote. And I think that makes sense, especially in a time when word of mouth was still an important part of how a movie did. Before you could just watch a clip online pretty much within a few days of a movie's release. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know if that's a big enough twist for it to be I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just maybe it just doesn't seem as big a deal in hindsight, but I don't know.
But yeah, he also kind of talks about in that same article, he also kind of talks about how Terminator 2 basically raised the bar to an impossible level for T3, saying, quote, "The problem in Terminator 3 is that Terminator 2 was such a seminal movie. It was going to be impossible to blow people away because T2 was the first time a lot of people saw digital effects."
Yeah.
The Liquid Metal Man, no one had ever seen before. That and Jurassic Park, those are the two movies that probably have blown people away from seeing them in the theater. I knew that we wouldn't be able to achieve that. I also knew there was going to be a lot of skepticism. Why do you even need a third Terminator? I felt that I had to disarm people, so that's why we made a choice to use humor, which is front-loaded earlier in the movie. Some of it's too shticky, some of it has not aged well with time. I'll be the first to confess, but if you went to the theater at the time, it worked with the audience, unquote. And I didn't realize how like front-loaded T3 is until like I read that, because the jokes kind of like start dying down as you get like what to like maybe the gas station. Basically, when he tells John that the world's going to end, the jokes kind of die down.
Yeah.
Yeah, after he does the talk to the hand.
Yes, that's what I had written down as the gas station scene. Like basically like the tone changes. Anyway, and he's also right about nothing comparing to that T-1000 going forward as far as the franchise, because like as far as like a whoa cool like awesome factor, because like what are they going to like as so far they haven't done anything to top that.
Nope.
And I think you got to just make the story good enough, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so the interviewer asks if the negative reaction to T3 caused him to lose work, and he says no, that it did really well overseas, and he had deals with a bunch of studios, but because he was used to working with independent studios and didn't have the same level of control with major studios, like that was a problem. He also said that he was starting a family at the time and didn't want to miss out on their childhoods. Like his kids' childhoods, which is fucking bullshit, because you can totally still be around for your kids' childhoods and miss out on it. Like, you know, sorry, it's me working through my own stuff.
Some personal stuff.
Which is stupid, because it's not like I'm still 5 years old, you know? And like I'm going to be up all night asking my mom, when's daddy coming home, you know? Like he wasn't there to teach me to write my first joke, but I learned, didn't I? Yeah. And I got pretty damn good at it too. I got through my first date without him. I learned to drive. I learned to shave. I learned how to run away from a fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays. Well, oh, sorry. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry.
I know where it came from.
I know exactly where it came from.
What are you talking about?
Why don't he love you, man?
Yes.
It came from your heart. I honestly think about that scene a lot when my dog's giving me shit. Weirdly. Because she is in love with my wife, and she's like, fine with me. It's like, how come she don't want me, man? She's like literally sitting over there staring at me.
It's the same thing with Lola, too.
Joe's got a little statue on his living room table where he's cradling a dog. Anyway.
Seriously, though, my childhood was messed up. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make a joke about your dad leaving you. He can be there, but yeah. Anyway, Jonathan Mostow continues by saying that he had projects greenlit, but then there would be a change as far as the head of like a studio head, and usually the first thing the new studio head does is dump any old projects.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anything in development, basically. And between that and his pickiness, his career kind of suffered, you know.
Damn.
But, yeah. Speaking of Will Smith, though, which I don't know why I wrote that, because I don't know anything.
Yeah, that's out of the blue.
I watched what I think was his next movie after T3, Jonathan Mostow, not Will Smith. Jonathan Mostow is called Surrogates, which was basically a worse version of iRobots, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it stars Bruce Willis, Rodden Mitchell, and it's not good.
No, it's terrible.
You've seen it?
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Okay,
off recording, I think. But yeah, we talked about this before.
And you never guess who it was written by.
Was it the same dudes?
Yes. It's Michael Ferris, John Brancato. It's based on a graphic novel, but it's like, basically, I think I was looking at his Mostow's IMDb credits, and I don't remember the movies after that, but 90% of the movies that he's done have been those two writers.
Wow.
Which, yeah, Michael Ferris and, which I had a note down here.
They must be so much more charming in person than in their blog.
I mean, I think it's just like loyalty, basically. But they've written like a handful of episodes for TV shows, like Rugrats. This is Michael Ferris.
Got it.
Rugrats and The Simpsons, which Michael Ferris did a couple episodes, season 27 and season 30. But But yeah, otherwise him and John Brancato share like 99% of the same credits. Mm-hmm. Anyway, in that same interview, Mostow also talked about how he talked to James Cameron about T3, saying, quote, "I do remember reading that he had something complimentary about it soon after it came out. We had a couple of phone conversations subsequent to that because he'd asked me if I wanted to direct a movie that he was producing. I can't even remember exactly what film that was. I think it was 2 different films, actually. We must have talked about T3, but I don't remember the specifics. I'm embarrassed to say that because you'd think I should remember this. But also, if somebody made a sequel to something that was my baby, I don't know if I could be as generous as he was," end quote. First off, I'm sorry, but there's no way he doesn't remember what James Cameron told him if they talked about T3.
Yeah, I feel like that's, yeah.
It was probably something like, "Hey, it was better than I thought it would be. You know? Good job.
And just him being nice. But secondly, like, James Cameron is seems like kind of an asshole. Mm-hmm. Like, and doesn't really seem to hold back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, better than I thought it would be is the total backhanded compliment.
Yes, but still him being nice about it.
Yeah.
Like, as nice as it's going to be, which exactly is as nice as it's going to be, because, like, once you hear what James Cameron said about the film, it's changed over the years, with him telling BBC One in 2003, quote, "In one word, great. There was a small part of me that hoped it wasn't good, but another part of me hoped it had succeeded. And it did. And I'm so glad it did. Jonathan's made a great movie. Arnold's in great form. I really like what he's done with it." And it's sure nice to, Jimmy Cameron being positive when talking about somebody that...
Positive and vague.
It didn't last long, because he says in 2015... talking about when Terminator Genesis came out, he says, quote, "In my mind, I think of Genesis as the third film," unquote, which, ouch.
Jesus. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this when we did Genesis.
Yeah, but then he'll change his opinion about Genesis 3 or 4 years later.
Well, I think I mentioned this when we did Genesis, and I can't remember if it was Arnold or James Cameron that admitted it, but one of them said that James Cameron only talked up Terminator Genesis because he didn't want to shit on, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when he also said when Dark Fate was released, which I believe we probably already covered, like, this quote, but he said, quote, "This is a continuation from Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, and we're pretending the other films were a bad dream, or an alternate timeline, which is permissible in our multiverse." So basically, it sounds like the only Terminator movie James Cameron thinks are good are James Cameron's Terminator movies, which, whatever.
Sure.
I get that. Like, he doesn't seem to care what anyone does with his IP until he sees what they do with his IP. Where he's like,
I'd probably be the same way. I'm
I think
do whatever the fuck you want, and watch it. Be like, what the fuck is this? This fucking suck.
You realize my movie was good, right? Like, yeah, and especially with how picky he is too. It's just anyway. So lastly, Arnold, who in a 2023 interview with The Hollywood Reporter was very kind of Terminator 3, saying, quote, "The first 3 movies were great. Number 4, I was not in because I was governor. Then 5 and 6 didn't close the deal as far as I'm concerned. We knew that ahead of time because they were just not well written." Which, whatever. He does think fondly back on 3. So there's also a couple other things from that interview that I wanted to mention before moving on. First off, apparently they were trying to, like, from that interview, but like a couple other things in general. Like, but this one comes from a 2004 article. But first off, they were apparently trying to get Arnold on board for Terminator 4 while he was in office. With a spokesperson for Intermedia saying in 2004, quote, "We're certainly talking to Arnold and his people. He obviously has a day job that he has to take into consideration. But we're talking to him." Which, unquote. But there's then a quote from one of Arnold's people saying something along the lines of, "Yeah, that shit ain't happening." Like, which, good. Like, that would have made a mockery. Like, there's no way he would have. He's smart enough to know he would have got a ton of shit for that. Anyway, second thing is from the 2023 Hollywood Reporter article that I mentioned before, and has nothing to do with Terminator 3. But he talks about 2 other movies that we've done before that I wanted to mention. So first, the interviewer asks him about the Twin sequel, and he says, quote, "Jason Reitman fucked it up." Like, what? Exclamation mark on that too. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Jason Reitman literally stopped the project when his father died. This is Arnold talking. "His father wanted to do it really badly. I wanted to do it really badly. Danny DeVito wanted to do it really badly. We had financing. When his father passed away, Jason says, I never liked the idea and put it on hold. Put a hold on it. I'm developing another movie with Danny. He's so much fun to work with and so talented." Which kind of sucks, but I'm curious if he actually like doesn't like the script or whatever for it, or he's just like it's like a personal like thing for Jason Reitman.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's it. It's just weird.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact.
Yeah. But he's then asked about pending Conan sequel, and he says, quote, "It's been pending for the last 10 years. Frederick Malmberg owns the rights. He comes to me and says, oh, I have a deal with Netflix. And when we ask Netflix, they don't know anything about it." It's one of those crazy things. I hope he figures it out. I think you do it like Unforgiven, where you play the age. There's a great script out there that John Milius wrote, and others have written one. The story is there. There are directors who want to do it, but he has the rights, and until he sells the rights for 1 or 2 movies or for the franchise, there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, so that's it for the promo stuff.
All right, and after this long and winding road, we are finally going to finish our T3 episodes with Irons Pumped.
When the big man was killed, you must have wounded it. Its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
So we're going to rate this movie on a scale to 1 to 5. Please remember that it is a scale on Arnold movies only, because if it were just a scale for any movies, they'd all be 5s because they all have Arnold in them. So, yeah, let's just start off with Aaron. What say you?
Basically, was what Joe said, and what I think we both said before, was the problem with this movie is there's never really much. It's like there's no real sense of urgency with it, which is strange because the whole movie is basically a countdown to the world ending. Also, the 2 movies, Jonathan Mossow's 2 movies before this, U571 and Breakdown, are like pretty intense throughout most of the movie. Like definitely for Breakdown. And like that feeling of desperation that coming from Kurt Russell's character in Breakdown is something like as an audience member, you just eventually like kind of begin to feel, and you become like, it helps you become more invested in the movie. And it's just weird that this was missing from Terminator 3, especially after like how the movie ends, and it just should have had like that desperate feeling, like that running out of time feel, but it doesn't for some reason. And it just, I feel like it fits so well into that top 10 of the week, like for when it was released, as far as like popcorn movies. But I don't know. Anyway, like Joe's already said, it was too bright, which I didn't like. I would say what the other ones were, but this one it hurts it. And I guess Joe would say it probably hurts the other ones too, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go with a, what do you got? Man, Genesis is rated way too high for me. Oh, wait, I got a 3. I'm going to go with the 3 because that's what I put Genesis at. I'm not going to rate it above that one. So, yeah, I'm going 3.
Got it.
All right. Chris, what about you?
This movie is just too generic. I mean, it's still at its core, I guess, a Terminator movie. It gives Arnold a chance to show off, like, there's some fight scenes. He gets to shoot a little. He gets to give some quips and stuff like that, but it just overall feels like a really commercialized PG-13 version of Terminator,
which is weird because it's R.
Yeah, it just feels so. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, overly generic and kind of. Yeah, you know, I can't put it down way down at the bottom of the list because it does still have the basic action stuff that most Arnold movies have. But I'm going to give this movie, I think, just a 2.5. It's very forgettable and not fun for most of it.
Joe, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, you guys basically said it all. You've encompassed my thoughts. I feel like the desperation of the first one is they're just trying to get away from the Terminator, and then the second one's like John wants to blow up Cyberdyne, and Sarah just wants to like run, and has to come to grips with trusting in Terminator, you know, after what happened with the last one. And in this one, it's just like, oh yeah, hey, here's these same beats again. Like, the Terminator will listen to Claire Danes, and then they gotta go save her dad, and I don't know. And like I said, it's bright and everything.
There's like no stakes, though. It's like...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I don't feel... I mean, John's not gonna die. Like, I don't feel like...
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, who's gonna die? Like, no one's gonna die. I mean, Scott Peterson dies.
The obvious love interest.
Yeah, like, you know, the Terminator's probably gonna die. Like, whatever. Yeah. So, as I said with Genesis, and I'll stand on this hill, like, they at least tried something different. Dark Fate was kind of back to the same thing. And, I think watching this now, as opposed to when it come out, I have a little more respect for it. Mainly, or that's possibly because a lot of Terminator movies that came after it also all kind of sucked. So I think it fits squarely in between Dark Fate and Genesis. And Dark Fate's 2.5, Genesis is a 3.5 for me, so it's a 3. So it fits right in there.
So would you guys say, like, they should have just wrapped it up with T2? Or, like, is there... Like, I feel like the only person that could... And I don't even know that. Like, the only person that could do anything with the movie, like, is James Cameron. But, like, we kind of saw what he was going to do with it. I mean, I like Dark Fate, but, like...
I'm never going to completely close the door on a franchise, because you could always have a good writer and a good director come in and surprise you and make something good. But, like, I'm never going to go back and watch anything except for Terminator 2 and Terminator 1.
Yeah.
Like, even Dark Fate, which I enjoyed a bit, but, like, I'm probably never going to go back and watch it. It feels relatively forgettable.
If it's on.
Yeah, exactly. If it's on, I'll probably watch parts of it, and other parts of it annoy me.
Until the commercial starts. And
yeah, exactly.
If The Simpsons is also on, and you're like, well, I guess I'm watching this now.
Exactly. So, like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to be excited for another Terminator until they make one that is good again. That's just not going to happen. Like, they have to prove that they can make a good one again before I'll give a shit.
Yeah, okay. It's a lot like The Simpsons, like 1 and 2, or like the 90s Simpsons, and then all the ones after that, or all the Simpsons after that. And, like, even if it's like, oh yeah, no, they're actually pretty good now. It's like, yeah. Until there
are highs and lows, but it's never going to take you back to that original. Yeah.
And I don't know, like, what more you can do with this franchise besides rehashing the same time travel, savor humanity machines thing,
Yeah.
All right, that's going to put T3 about number 11 on the list, but it's going to be tied with Dark Fate at a 2.83. Right below Genesis, there's a 2.9, and above Jingle All the Way and Raw Deal, kind of middle of the list. In case you're new here, Predator, Running Man, Twins, and Commando are solid top 4 thus far. And at the bottom, we have a pretty solid Aftermath, which, who gave it a 1.5? Jesus Christ, guys. The villain, actually, fucking Chris gave Sabotage a 2.5? Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the only one I really want to change, because I hate that movie.
Yeah. So we have Maggie, Sabotage, the villain, and Aftermath at a 1.3, or 1.5 or 1.3 respectively at the bottom. So a bunch of other movies in the middle. I'm not going to go over them. You just got to go listen back to the podcast and figure it out. But
I also really like how he left, instead of doing the top 5, he did the top 4, because the 6th day doesn't make any sense.
Oh, did you skip the 6th?
No,
just he did everything above 4. Everything above 4.
Okay.
I'd say they have a commanding lead.
Yeah.
It's them and everybody else.
I don't know. I still got it 6th day, but
I do too. I'm just saying. Anyway, I think that does it. We've officially finished T3.
Sorry that took so long, but yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, and stay tuned next. We're going to have a great one coming for you. It is Middle School Officer. Wait, that's what it's called, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think so.
It's something about him. He's a law enforcement-y guy, and he teaches people stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah, that's it. There we go. No, but for real, coming up next is a lot of people's favorite. It's going to be Kindergarten Cop, so stay tuned, refresh that feed. If you're jonesing, go back and listen to some other episodes. If you're not, just delete all the ones you have, re-download them, bump our numbers. But seriously, go rate and review our podcast. That helps out a lot.
Yep, helps immeasurably.
It takes 15 seconds out of your day, and you're out here getting free entertainment. And all we ask is for 15 seconds of your fucking day. Destroy it. We would appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's the end of the podcast.
All right. I guess there's only one thing left to say.
See you at the party, Richter!
If you enjoy our show, please consider giving us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Potty Richter to make sure you never miss an episode. See You at the Potty Richter is a production of Tape Deck Media. Follow Tape Deck on Instagram at tapedeck_media, or look us up on Facebook for more hilarious podcasts.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.